The last couple of weeks, I've been talking about fatherhood and what kind of man could be trusted with a crown, how we raise our kids, lead our homes, and look to God for answers. But what if the example that God gave us to follow was a man who never said a single word in the Bible? Joseph never talked a big game. No speeches, no spotlight. Just one singular mission. Raise the Son of God. And you know how he did it? He showed up and he followed God. He never left or gave up. And that's the kind of father I want to be. Come on. You know, most men want to be leaders. But Joseph was a protector first. See, God didn't ask him to lead a movement. He asked him to lead a family. And Joseph simply just said, yes, before there was applause, before he had any answers, before it even made sense. He obeyed in the quiet. And God, because of that, trusted him with the most important job in history. So if you're wondering what kind of man you need to be for your family, as I am, let's start with Joseph. Hold up. Look, we all want to be strong men. We want to be the guy our wife brags about when we're not around. The one our kids look at and tell their friends, my dad would beat your dad up. And I've spent hours, days even, thinking about what that actually means. And after a lot of prayer and a few conversations with a few good friends, I was led to look at Joseph. See, he was a steady man, even before he fully understood what he was taking on. Joseph taught us faithfulness in silence is louder than any speech ever will be or can be. This man had every reason in the book to turn around and hightail it out of there. He had a pregnant fiancée, a dangerous journey ahead of him, and a child that wasn't his. But he stayed. He protected, and above all, he obeyed. And let's be real. A man does something like that today, and the world might call him weak or a simp. But that truly was warrior level obedience. Because when God said move, Joseph didn't argue or doubt him. He packed up his tools, gathered his family, and moved. When God said stay, he built a home. It wasn't a mansion or not an empire. It was a safe place for his wife and his son. And when God went quiet, as he sometimes does in our lives, Joseph didn't panic. He didn't abandon his post. He kept his head down and kept working his ass off. And that's the kind of man that I want to be. That's the kind of man that I'm asking God to help me become. The point I am making is this. What we can learn from Joseph is that titles, fame, money, and all that glitters and gold means nothing if you get there without teaching your children what obedience looks like. When life doesn't go according to plan, when your leadership feels unrecognized, when you feel overlooked, underappreciated, or straight up exhausted, what do? Do you run? Or do you stay? Because the kind of father that God is looking for, he isn't the loudest man. It's not the guy who forces his opinion or cuts other people out just because he disagrees. It's not the most followed, not the most shredded, and not the most successful. God is looking for the Josephs, men willing to risk everything without having all the answers. Men who are willing to protect what God has given them quietly, consistently, and with honor. Luke chapter 16, verse 10 says, "He who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in very much." Joseph had every opportunity to chase influence. He could have been a leader among men. He could have chased status or legacy in his own way. But God didn't hand him that. God handed him responsibility. And in the silence, in the struggle, and in the unknown, he showed up anyways. So if you're out here trying to lead your family just like I am, trying to walk out your faith, trying to be the kind of man that your kids and wife feel safe with, then stop chasing perfection. Chase presence. Chase obedience. Chase that quiet strength that actually builds legacy. And ask, if this is home with you, don't just nod and scroll. Tag a man you admire. Send this to a brother who's trying to lead his home. Or drop Joseph in the comments if you're ready to step into this kind of obedience. Because we don't need more noise. We need more fathers who stay. Day 212 down. It's another cold one, but the truth is the world's cold too. And if we're going to raise kids in it, if we're going to love our wives well, then we better get used to stepping into discomfort. But let's do it together. And remember, be kind, be great, dial it in, and most importantly, keep on sending it. Listen, did you know that Joseph didn't get a book named after him? He didn't part any seas or slay any giants. Despite that, God still trusted him to raise his only son. So if you think you need a spotlight to make an impact, think again. And with that, I got to get my ass to work. Until tomorrow, it's Clint's Budget time.